Okay, children, a very good morning to everybody. We shall revise the chapter Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood today. I had sent you certain assignments, we would discuss them, and I shall also take up your doubts. So, this chapter, Lost Spring, I hope I'm audible to all. So, this chapter, Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood, it has been taken from Anise Jung's book. And the title of the book was the same, Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood. And what is the theme of this chapter? Can anyone just talk about the theme? What is Anise Jung talking about? Yes, they do not get opportunities to come up. They do not get a fair chance to get educated. Their poverty. She's highlighting the abject poverty of children and how they are exploited by the rich people and how the various traditions. She said here she's talking about the abject poverty and the traditions which are sanctified by caste, which are sanctified by religion, and which condemn these children forever to spend their life of what kind of a life do they get? They get a life of exploitation where they are exploited by everyone. Okay, people join always after time, whatever time. Two parts of this chapter, and one part deals with the story of Sahib, and the other part deals with the story of Mukesh. Who was Sahib? Who is Sahib? Sahib is a rag picker, and where has he come from? Not Malvika, not Malvika. Malvika, hold on. Gurnur. Where has Sahib come from, and why did he leave Dhaka? For earning money, for better opportunities, their fields were destroyed because of the floods and storms. Yes. So, this is about Sahib, and what does he do every day? What does he scrounge for? What is scrounging? There's a word, scrounging. What is he, in the very first paragraph, if you look at the first paragraph of the page, first page of your chapter, this is very irritating. People keep on joining throughout the class. Okay, so when he's asked by the author, why do you do this? And the author encounters him, and every day, what is he doing? He's scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps. What is scrounging? What do you mean by bolo? He's trying to search for, and are we talking about gold here? What does gold symbolize? What does gold symbol? Something which is very valuable. It could be money, it could be something else, but something which is of certain value. Okay, and why is Sahib's home referred to as not even a distant memory? He says his home is not even a distant memory for him. Somebody else who's not answered before, Gurnur and Malvika. Gurnur, Malvika, please hold on. Hold on. Somebody else has to reply. I don't have only two students here in the class. So I need all the students to participate here. Okay. So why is it that his home is not even a distant memory for him? Why is that so? Why is his home referred to as distant memory? They are immigrants from Bangladesh, and he doesn't remember his home. Why is it a distant memory for him? Vishwajit, Abhay, Khushpreet, bolo Vishwajit. And they've been here for how many years, roughly? 30 years, and he was very small when they migrated to Delhi, and now they're staying in the outskirts of Delhi. They've settled in Simapuri. That the name of the place is Simapuri, and he doesn't have any memory of his original home that was in Dhaka. Okay, and when he says, I have nothing else to do, and the author tells him to go to school, and she says, towards the end of this page, I say glibly. What do you understand by glibly? What is, yes? Yes? jokingly, without thinking, insincerely, without any sincerity in her voice, without any superficially, because she was not there to make to open a school for anybody. She just said it for the sake of knowing whether he was interested to go to school or not. And what was his reaction to that? What was Sahib's reaction to that? Ronit, what was Sahib's reaction to that? And when she said that, yes, and he said that whenever a new school opens, he would surely go. And when she said, if I start a school, will you come? He was very happy because he was hopeful that a new school is going to come soon in their locality, and he would join that too. And towards the next line of this page, page number 14, if you look at this paragraph, the fourth, fifth line, it takes longer to build a school. I say embarrassed. Why was the author embarrassed? What was she embarrassed of? The author is a female. Vishwajit, yes. Yes, she had promised him something, but she never meant to keep that promise. Yes, she could not fulfill it. It was a fake promise, and she felt embarrassed because that had raised a lot of hopes uh, of Sahib. Okay, and then is, I'm just asking reference to context from you people, then we'll discuss other questions later on. Okay, so if you come towards the middle of this page, come to middle of page number 15, second paragraph. My acquaintance with the barefoot rag pickers. Okay, you should have your books in front of you and come to this page, page number 15. My acquaintance with the barefoot rag pickers leads me to Simapuri, a place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it metaphorically. Those who live here are squatters who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. Sahib's family is among them. Simapuri was then a wilderness. It still is, but it is no longer empty. Just concentrate on this paragraph and tell me, why does the writer say that Simapuri was miles away from Delhi metaphorically? Yes. Why is Simapuri? Yes, Ronit? It was because Delhi was a quite modern, developed city, and which had all the amenities of life. But Simapuri was bereft even of the basic amenities. Okay, it did not have even the basic amenities of life, even though it was very close to Delhi, which is the capital of India. Therefore, it is metaphorically it was miles away from Delhi. Okay, and who are the inhabitants of Simapuri? Who are the inhabitants of Simapuri? The migrants. So it was inhabited basically by the migrants of from Bangladesh, and they came back to India in the year 1971. Why was Simapuri a wilderness? Why does the author say that it was a wilderness? It still is. Why it is referred to as something which is kind of a wilderness? Yes. It is referred to as it is a wilderness. It was a wilderness, and it still is a wilderness because it lacks all the basic amenities, and it is a very kind of a very hostile place to live in. But still, these people are living in there. But otherwise, it is not. It is quite uninhabitable. Okay. And why does she say it still is? Because even now, even after 30 years, what has the government? What has the government done for them? Okay, it still is a wilderness because the government has done nothing much to improve the quality of life of these migrants, okay, of these squatters. And the conditions are very inhumane. They are inhumane conditions in which they are thriving there, they are living there, and there are no basic amenities, there is lack of sewage, there is lack of proper drainage, and even running water. So it lacks all the basic amenities. It still is a hostile place. It is quite uninhabitable. That is why she says Simapuri was a wilderness, and it still is a wilderness. Got it? Okay. Okay. Now I'll tell you. Now move on to. this line, food is more important for survival than an identity. Okay? It's in the middle of the same paragraph that we've just discussed, middle of that paragraph, last paragraph on page. Yes. So it says food is more important for survival than an identity. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the fields that gave us no grain. Okay, say a group of women in tattered saris. Why does the writer say that food was more important than identity for them? Why does the writer say? Somebody who has not answered, somebody who's not, yes, rhythm bolo. Yes. So identity was totally irrelevant for these people when survival was the need of the hour. So if you cannot live on an empty stomach, but you can live without an identity. Okay. So that is why they say that identity was irrelevant for those people because survival was the need of the hour for them. Why do the squatters prefer to live in inhumane conditions? Yes. And they say that it is going to bed without an aching stomach is more important than having green fields around you which gave you no grains. Okay. Next is what does it reveal about the state of affairs of Indian politics? What does this reveal about the state of affairs of Indian politics? Can you guess? It's very simple. It's related to the conditions there. What does this reveal about the state of affairs of Indian politics? So they're just they're just a vote bank for the politicians, but they're least concerned about their living condition. They're least concerned about whether they get anything, whether they are provided with the basic amenities or not. Okay. Yes. So which fields are being referred to here? What are the fields? When is the green fields? Which fields are we talking about here? Yes, the fields in Bangladesh from where they have migrated. Okay. Next is children. The same page, last few lines, last 4 or 5 lines. Children grow up in them, becoming partners in survival. And survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions of a fine art. Garbage to them is gold. It is their daily bread, a roof over their heads, even if it is a leaking roof. But for a child, it is even more. How are children partners in survival? How are the children partners in survival? Yes. Yes. Very good. They help the parents in earning a livelihood. Why is garbage gold for them? Somebody else, Malvika, apart from Malvika, Vishwajit or Rhythm and Ronit, somebody else. Why is garbage gold for them? Why is garbage referred to as, Hanji bolo, Pavandeep? Yes, yes. Because whatever items they get from the garbage, they're discarded by the rich people who no longer need them, and then they are collected by these people. They use them, or they either use them or they just sell those things, and so it's a means of survival. It's a means of livelihood for them. So that is why it is referred to as gold. How has it acquired the proportions of fine art? How has this collecting or gathering garbage acquired the proportions of a fine art? Experience, they are by practicing it daily, so they are experienced, they are trained, so they know how to and where to, what to scrounge for, what to search for in the garbage. What does the writer mean by for a child it is even more? For a child, it is even more. What does he mean by this? What does she mean by this? For a child, it is even more. What is it for a child? Garbage to them is gold, but for a child, it is even more than that. What could be more than that for a child? Bolo? For a child. It's a kind of a treasure hunt for the child, where the child can search for anything, and he or she can sometimes find a rupee or a 10 rupee note or even a silver coin from the garbage. Okay. Next, come to the next page. First paragraph on the next page. At the middle of that paragraph, it seems that for children, garbage has a meaning different from what it means to their parents. For children, it is wrapped in wonder. For the elders, it is a means of survival. Okay, so I've just told you how does garbage have a different meaning for a child? अभी बताया बेटा मैंने आपको. How does it have a different? Yes, it is like a treasure hunt. Okay, do you think that scrounging the garbage is like winning a lottery for a child? Do you think it is like winning a lottery for the child? How could it be if you link it with winning a lottery? How could it be linked with that? You can say, you can link it to winning a lottery, and if you get a 10 rupee, if a child gets a 10 rupee note or a silver coin, or then he's filled with the hope of finding more. Okay, so it is like winning a lottery for him. How is it a means of survival for the parents? You know it, because what do the parents depend on? They depend on the discarded items. They collect all those things and then they sell them. Okay, they use them or they sell them. Okay, which is the verb form of survival? What verb form of survival? बताओ. Survival का verb form बताओ बच्चे. You can get questions like find the adjective, the verb, the adverb of any word. So what could be the verb form of survival? बताओ. Verb क्या होता है? Verb is an action word. Survive, yes. Survive is the verb form of survival. Okay. And then come to this, the last paragraph of this page. I now work, the second line of the last paragraph. I now work in a tea stall. हाँ जी बोलो. हो सकता है, पर वो प्रेजेंट पार्टिसिपल फॉर्म होगी ना, तो हम सिर्फ सर्वाइव ही लिखेंगे बेटा. ठीक है ना? ING फॉर्म नहीं लिखेंगे, हम सर्वाइव ही लिखेंगे सीधा. ओके. So I now work in a tea stall down the road, he says, pointing in the distance. I am paid 800 and all my meals. Does he like the job? I ask. His face, I see, has lost the carefree look. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly over his shoulder. The bag was his. The canister belongs to the man who owns the tea shop. Sahib is no longer his own master. Who is the speaker here? The narrator works in a tea stall. Sahib. Sahib. So the speaker is Sahib. Sahib, the rag picker. Is the speaker happy doing the job? Why? Why not? Yes. Because he's lost his freedom. He doesn't own the canister. That is why it is heavier, and the rag pick. Yes, the burden of his job. Yes, very good. Yes, earlier on he was very carefree. Now he's lost that carefree look, and he's stressed out. And what is the writer implying by the bag was his, the canister belongs to the man who owns the tea shop? What is the writer implying? Yes. Okay. So is he carrying the plastic bag even now? Bolo? No, he's not carrying the plastic bag. And why does the writer make a reference to the light plastic bag? What does the writer wants to, what is it indicative of? That he has lost his? Yes. The carefree look and his freedom by choosing to work at the tea stall. Okay. The second story, and the story of Mukesh. I want to drive a car. Okay. Come to this line. In this case, the elder is an impoverished Bengal maker. So on page number 18, the first paragraph, fifth last line. In this case, have you found it? Fifth last line, first paragraph, page number 18. In this case, the elder is an impoverished bangle maker. Despite long years of hard labor, first as a tailor, then as a bangle maker, he has failed to renovate a house to send his two sons to school. All he has managed to do is teach them what he knows, the art of making bangles. Who is the elder in the above extract? Who is the elder? Mukesh's grandfather? Yes, it is Mukesh's father. Okay, तो चैप्टर बच्चे आपने पढ़ना है अच्छी तरह से, बिकॉज रेफरेंस टू कॉन्टेक्स्ट आपको सिर्फ पोइट्री से नहीं आएगा, आपको चैप्टर्स में से भी आएगा. ओके, व्हाई हैज ही नॉट बीन एबल टू सेंड हिज सन्स टू स्कूल? Lack of money because of poverty, because he couldn't afford. He couldn't afford sending them to school. And what has he taught them? What has he taught them, basically? The art of bangle, making bangles. Which words reflect poverty in the extract? If you look at these 4-5 lines, find out the word which reflect poverty. I said word. Find out one word which reflects poverty. Impoverished. Yes, impoverished. Okay. Next, come to page number 19. The second paragraph. The cry of not having money to do anything except carry on the business of making bangles, not even enough to eat, rings in every home. The young men echo the lament of their elders. Little has moved with time, it seems, in Firozabad. Years of mind-numbing toil have killed all initiative and the ability to dream. What does the writer mean by the very first line, the cry of till rings in every home? What does the writer mean by this? Read the first line of this extract and tell me what does the writer mean by the first line? Yes. Every family, each and every family is suffering from poverty. They do not have enough to eat and to feed their families. And it's the same dilemma, it's the same thing that goes on in each and every house. Okay. And what do the young men feel? What do the young men feel? Yes, there is no improvement with the passage of time. There's no improvement in their condition in spite of working so hard, in spite of toiling for their manufacturers. They don't even get even a single full meal, and they don't get anything to satisfy their hunger. Okay, why has nothing moved with time? Why has nothing moved with time? Why has nothing budged? Why has nothing moved with the passage of time? And they're still exploited, the exploitation continues and nobody cares for them, and not even the government. How has it affected the youth and the children? How has this affected the youth and the children? In low light, ill ventilated rooms and dingy cells, and it has killed their initiative, it has killed their ability to dream also. This ability to dream, it has been snatched away from these little children. Okay, then next is, together they have imposed the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. Before he is aware, he accepts it as naturally as his father. Page number 20. Fifth, 6 lines. Together, they have imposed the baggage on the child that he cannot put down. Before he is aware, he accepts it as naturally as his father. To do anything else would mean to dare. Who has imposed the baggage on the child? Who are they who have imposed the baggage on the child? The elders? No, not the elders. The society? What? Who all in the society? Yes. The middlemen, the sahukars, the policemen, the politicians, the bureaucrats, everybody has forced the child to carry on this baggage of working in glass bangle industry, just like the older, the past generations. Okay, which baggage is being referred to here? We've just talked about it. Which baggage is being referred to here? Of working in the bangle industry, losing their eyesight with the passage of time and till the time that they become adults, and also very less payment, the meager payment that they get, which is not even enough to survive. Okay, why does he accept it as naturally as his father? Why does the child accept this as naturally as his father? They know only the skill of bangle making. There are options, but they're deprived of all those opportunities. These opportunities are snatched away from them, and so they're left only to acquire one skill, and that skill is bangle making. And because we have that nexus of bureaucrats, the middlemen, the sahukas, the politicians, and they're left with only one thing, and they just know how to keep themselves, how to survive, and survival is the sole purpose of their life, and they can survive only by making bangles. Why does the writer say to do anything else would mean to dare? Like challenging whom? Again, the middlemen, the politicians, the policemen, the bureaucrats. Okay, because there's a nexus of them going on, and they don't let these little children learn or acquire any other skill. Okay, so this is about this chapter. Can anyone just share the assignment where we have the short answer questions? Yes. So his name was Sahib-e-Alam. So what is ironical about his name? What is ironical? Somebody else has to answer. Somebody who's not answered before today. We have 39, 40 participants. What is ironical about Sahib's name? Yes, Gulistan. Yes. Yes, he would feel shocked if he comes to know that his name means Lord of the Universe, and he's a rag picker. He doesn't even have enough to keep his belly filled. Okay, next is how does Sahib react to the idea of going to school? We've discussed it, that he was very excited. The moment the narrator said that if he would be ready to come to school if she opens one, then he's too excited, and he even asks her again, is the school ready? So this shows that he was eager, and he was very excited to go to school, but he never got the opportunity to be a part of the educational system. What does the garbage mean to the children of Seemapuri and their parents? So these are two different questions for the parents. It's not only it's a means of survival, and Hanji. And for the children, it's like a treasure hunt. We've discussed it. Okay, so you can elaborate. Why don't people of Firozabad organize themselves into a cooperative? This is a textbook question. We had discussed it when we did this chapter. Why don't they organize themselves into a cooperative? Batao. Why do the people? Bolo? Of middlemen, sahukas, politicians, bureaucrats. It's a vicious circle that goes on, and if anybody dares to, then he or she has to face serious repercussions. Okay, what does the writer see in Mukesh's house? What does the writer see in his house? मुकेश के घर में क्या दिखता है उसको? मतलब बोलो. The writer see in his house there's a wobbly door, and then yes. So it's a the house is in a very deplorable condition. There are wobbly doors, and it's like a shanty. It's just like a small house of just wood and steel, and it is thatched, it is covered with dead grass. This is what she finds there, and then there is a lady who is cooking food for the entire family, and her eyes are filled with smoke, and even then she smiles, and she's the wife of Mukesh's elder brother, and then she talks to her to the whom does she talk to? Yes, and then she gets to know each and everything, that how they are into this business and how they cannot think of anything else apart from making bangles. Okay. Next is, how does Mukesh's grandmother view the family occupation of bangle making and poverty? How does she view this? She says that it is Yes, she accepts it and she says that it is the destiny and we cannot just change it. It is not in our hands to change it. And she had seen her husband going blind because of this, and even then, her children and everybody is into this business because they cannot think of going outside this tradition. Okay, what does the writer mean when she says Sahib is no longer his own master? We've discussed it, that after working in the tea stall, even though he was getting 800 a month and also his meals but being taken care of, still he has lost his freedom, he has lost his carefree look and everything. So he was no longer, he was a slave to the person there. Then mention any two problems faced by the Bengal sellers. What were the problems that were faced by them? Yes, many of them, they end up losing their eyesight even before becoming adults. Okay, and the condition is such that their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. Yes, Vishwajit, yes, bolo. Very good. So the dust by polishing bangles, it entered into their eyes, and it also was responsible for their, it harmed their eyes. Next question. Yes, how is Mukesh's attitude different from that of his family? Batao. He was the only one who dared to dream, and he wanted to be a motor mechanic. Okay, and what else? Somebody else has to just add on to this. How is Mukesh different from the others? Do you think that his dream of becoming a motor mechanic would be fulfilled? Why does his dream look like a mirage? Why does the dream of Mukesh look like a mirage? Yes, and he doesn't have any support system also. There's nobody to support him, and there's nobody to help him fulfill his dream. So it looks like a mirage only. Next is, which are the two worlds that we are talking about here? Which two worlds? The sahukas, the politicians, the bureaucrats, and it is difficult for a young person to come out of the clutches of these two worlds. Okay. Next, we have the long answer questions. The bangle makers of Firozabad make beautiful bangles and make everyone happy, but they live and die in squalor. Elaborate. So I think you can do it. They live in dirt, they live in squalor, they live in extreme abject poverty stricken conditions. So you can elaborate this. Okay, next is, why did Sahib become a rag picker and what did he look for in the garbage dump? This also you can do it. We would discuss only that question which we've not discussed earlier. Describe the life of squatters. ये भी आप कर सकते हो. What does Anees Jung tell us about life at Mukesh's home in Firozabad? कर सकते हो ये? Who would elaborate this? Life at Mukesh's home in Firozabad. What is? Yes. So it's a similar question. You can just add on certain things to it. In 1971, Bangladeshi migrants came to Delhi looking for gold in the big city. What kind of life are they living in Simapuri now? कैसी life है उनकी बताइए आपको बच्चे? ठीक है? Extreme poverty, but they cannot think of going back because their fields were not giving them anything. So at least here they can have food and they don't have to, they can feed their families, they don't have to sleep on an empty stomach. Law Spring explains the grinding poverty and traditions that condemn thousands of people to life of abject poverty. Do you agree? Most of you would agree. And why not? हाँ, एग्री तो अब करोगे ही ना, एग्री करोगे कि नहीं करोगे? ठीक है? So it is poverty, and it is, then you can talk about those traditions, the tradition of bangle making and things like that. So I think that would be all for today. If there's any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, I just yes, you can stop sharing the screen. And if there's anything that you want me to explain, you can ask. Otherwise, I will just move on to the attendance part. Okay, Vijay.